Disaster waiting for you down below.
No risk it, no biscuit.
Uso with a super kick. John just hanging on. Just hanging on. Looking for the AA. Jay hanging in there. Jay wins. Jay Uso. Jay Uso is going to WrestleMania.
Here is your 2025 Men's Royal Rumble winner, main event, Jey Uso.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is no longer just a nickname. It is no longer a moniker. Jey Uso is truly the main event at WrestleMania.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of A Plus Wrestling here on A Plus Productions. What a glorious and cold Sunday it is here in Southern Ontario. We are going to be chatting all things Royal Rumble and everything that happened in the week that was pro wrestling. We're your hosts. I'm Boris, and this week we have more than just two. We are also going to be joined by Matt, as always.
Bonjour, how's everybody doing out there? Happy Los Angeles Lakers Day to those who celebrate. Boris, your team did it again. You stole another superstar. Jey Uso stole the Royal Rumble. I want justice.
It's all a distraction. It's all a distraction to keep us thinking about the real big news, which I don't know what it is. And we're also joined all the way from Edmonton, Andre C. Andre, how's it going?
I'm doing great, man. Great night of Royal Rumble action. Don't have any idea what's going on with the Lakers, but, that's just because I don't watch that. I don't watch basketball.
Well, we're going to be talking about that later on this week here on A Plus Productions, as we're going to be getting another episode of BAM later this week. But we're not here to talk sports. We're here to talk about a fictional sport. Well, a sport that's at least less scripted than the NFL and other sports. That is pro wrestling and WWE. Very interesting night. So let's before we go into things, something I did want to bring up, and it's this. So I was going through my social media, as one does, as they're preparing to watch professional wrestling, or really to watch anything, for that matter, and I saw a lot of people who, in my life, have never watch pro wrestling saying, this is my first Rumble, or they're with their significant other saying, oh, I'm going to be watching the Royal Rumble, or whatever, what have you. And this is the Netflix effect. This is exactly what WWE and others expected when they signed up with Netflix, because remember, here in Canada, we do get the PLEs on Netflix. So I saw a lot of people, at least on my timeline, people who I thought would never watch wrestling, watching wrestling.
Same, yeah. I had a house full of people who generally don't watch wrestling, not as much as myself anyway. But yeah, it's interesting. It's cool. It's definitely a time for growth for the wrestling business. But if you're the hardcore fan and you're the one making and probably listening to this podcast, it might sting a little bit, because we are getting wrestling for the casual fan. We are getting Charlotte Flair and Jey Uso, Yeet guy, as your Royal Rumble winners. We are getting things like this. So the product is a little more geared to the casual fan too. And for some of us, that stings.
Exactly. Yeah. It does Steve Burton us a little bit, just because it's one of those things that just you have to remember, it's something that we criticize. Thank you, guys. Something that we criticize AEW so much about, and that's getting the casual fans. And I'm finding that WWE right now is doing a great job of doing that, except it's hurting us to a certain extent, because what we're watching on the screen sometimes is a lot of Wrestling 101. Andre, thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, again, I look at it in a way. I will consider myself a casual, a hardcore casual WWE fan, because I'm not the week-to-week watcher of a WWE, but I follow through you guys. I follow through other channels like Post and Rana. That's how I follow professional wrestling, or at least the North American side. but I watched with a bunch of fans who, for at least 3 of them, regularly watch WWE, and me and Melball. And we all were, again, we were disappointed by things, but we were also, I think all of us were excited for Jey Uso. Even as some hardcores that were there, we're excited because, again, I don't think anybody truly expected Jey Uso to win this Rumble outside of maybe Matt.
Yeah.
And even I kind of expected Jey Uso to be in the main event of WrestleMania. I predicted that on the Bold Predictions show, but I thought he was beating Gunther at Sunday night's main event to get there. This was a very interesting, divisive, it seems, amongst the community, Royal Rumble results. Some people are pissed. A lot of fans who don't complain very often are pissed about this one. We have some feedback from fans who specifically said, I don't complain often, but, so shout out my good pal Justin Lacey. But yes, this was an interesting Rumble, to say the least.
Yeah, exactly. It was a very interesting, to say the least. But that's what we're here to talk about. Long story short, Andre, what did you think of the 2025 edition of the Royal Rumble?
Honestly, a good, solid Rumble. Some predictable stuff, some non-predictable stuff. But again, it was a good, solid night of pay-per-view action. You got 2, I thought, solid Rumbles. You got that 2 out of 3 falls match, which was pretty goddamn good between those, especially with those teams. And then you got I think a 4-star, 4.25 star ladder match there. That was, again, great pay-per-view overall.
Matt?
Yeah, very fun, enjoyable show, easy show to watch. It wasn't like the AEW style of pay-per-view or like an old PWG show where it's 13 matches and everyone tries to outdo the last one in the ring. It was pretty, basic, stripped down, almost bare bones. Even that ladder match, while there were some crazy bumps and some really impressive stunts, it was worked at a slower pace. They let everything really sit. They let you digest the chaos that was happening. I really liked the stats on the bottom of the screen, like the tickers of all the eliminations and what was going on in the Royal Rumble. I loved that. Overall, I thought it was a very good show, very easy show to watch. And yeah, one great match. Like Andre said, the ladder match was the best thing on the show.
Super, super easy show to watch. Something that I did notice, and I'm going to bring this up right now, is Motor City Machine Guns have adapted to the WWE style, to say the least. And that entire match was very much of a WWE style, but still an homage to everything that they did before. And I overall did enjoy the Royal Rumble. Look, people bitch and complain when it's Roman. On the men's side. The women's side, it is what it is. But on the men's side, for months and months and months and months and months and months and months, people were complaining about Roman Reigns and Cody, etc., being the main event people. Guess what? They've done something different, and people still bitch about it. No one's ever going to be happy.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. No, you can never make every fan happy, and it's rare that any fan that any of the fans are ever happy. That's the thing.
Exactly. All right, let us jump right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was just gonna say that is an excellent point for sure. Like, wrestling fans can be a complainy bunch, definitely a bit of a bitchy bunch from time to time. But I do think there are some fair arguments here for the Jey Uso thing. I understand why people are unsatisfied with that particular outcome.
Yep, for sure. But here's the other thing, right? We have two nights of WrestleMania, 2 main event spots at the very least, and we have the Elimination Chamber coming up. There's so much more storytelling to tell between now and WrestleMania that people just need to be a little tranquilo and, as they like to say, let things play out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yep.
Just chill.
All right.
Enjoy.
Exactly. Just enjoy it. All right. Which is what we're going to do. We're going to skip the entire pre-show because that was just a lot of interviews and random stuff. To be honest, I skipped most of it myself. Let's just jump straight to the main show. Stephanie McMahon comes out. She is introduced. She does introduce us to Royal Rumble. Pat McAfee, Michael Cole, and Wade Barrett are your commentators. See, my gentlemen, this is why you don't bitch and complain at your job, because you never know what people have planned for you.
I thought this meant we might have been.
Point.
I thought we might have been getting Corey in the Rumble because he wasn't on commentary.
No, dude, that guy right now is gonna be taught a lesson. All right, let us jump straight to the first match, which is the 30-woman Royal Rumble match. Io Sky number 1, Liv Morgan number 2, and number 3 was NXT's Roxanne Perez. Andre, you made a great point. We were talking about this as Matt was joining, and that was that on the men's Rumble, we didn't get any NXT. We didn't really get too many major things, except for a couple names here and there. But the women's Royal Rumble had a bit more of an NXT flair to it. And let's be honest, Roxanne Perez was probably MVP of this match.
Oh, he's easy MVP of this match. I think she has the record for longest woman in the Royal Rumble, is what they said. I think she has the record now. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yep.
Roxanne came in at number 3. Yep.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say Roxanne came in at number 3. Yep. All the way to the end, she lasted. She looked great. She wrestled with pretty much everyone in the match at some point, interacted with all these wrestlers, and obviously her star is on the rise. I would already pencil her in for Royal Rumble 2026.
I would too. The other interesting part about Roxanne Perez is she interacted with everyone, Nikki Bella, Trish Stratus, etc., etc., etc. And at no point did she look awkward. You know what I mean? She looked like she just should belong there.
Yes, absolutely. Hung in tough with everyone, and for sure, looked better than Nikki Bella, which is understandable. Nikki Bella's been on The Traitors season 3 or whatever for the last couple months. She's not in a ring. Trish Stratus is doing yoga somewhere in Hamilton. She's not in a ring. But Roxanne Perez was looking great in this match.
One of the biggest, funniest things ever. Yoga in Hamilton. I don't know anyone from Hamilton who does yoga.
Trish Stratus is the only person in the Hammer who even knows what a downward dog is, Boris.
No, a lot of people in the Hammer know what a downward dog is, but just in yoga terms, my friend.
Oh, let's move on forever.
Number 4. Lyra Valkyria came out and she had what could have been a horrible wardrobe malfunction, but kudos to Liv Morgan for coming in and, dare I say, saving her from a lot of embarrassment and a lot of we know how wrestling fans can be.
Yeah, definitely. I saw a few fans, and thankfully, getting downvoted and people saying like porn exists, you fucking idiot pervert. But yeah, there were a lot of fans out there on the internet cheering for the wardrobe malfunction. Veteran move by Liv Morgan to go attack Lyra so she could tie her top back up.
Yep.
And, again. I was watching with my group, and she just ran up, smacked her in the face, sent her into the corner, and then just walked away to go attack somebody else. And it was that's the perfect way to let her. And then you saw one of the referee girls run over to her to help her get it all situated back up, to help her set up. And then, but again, it was perfect. Yeah, great vet instincts. Be let her deal with her shit.
Exactly. People have given Liv Morgan a lot of shit, but let's be honest, in 2024 and into 2025, she's by far the most improved, and she knows what she's doing in there. I'm going to just go down the names of the Rumbles, and if there's anything you want to talk about with that person, please stop me. Number 5 was Chelsea Green, who, again, we say that Roxanne Perez had the 1A performance. I think Chelsea Green was 1B.
The greatest American of all time, Chelsea Green from Canada.
Love it. And yeah, this was another nice touch. When they announced people, they put their name on the chyron on the bottom and also included the flag of their country of origin. So Chelsea Green got a big pop, was a big favorite in our household for being Canadian, and she looked awesome in this Royal Rumble. They're really letting her explore the studio space, really letting her actually show what she can do in the ring lately. It's nice.
She might be the best at taking moves. She can make anyone a superstar by just taking their moves, a punch, a kick, their signature moves. Like, she is so good. She is so funny. Like, she is such a gem. And I'm so happy that she's getting her flowers finally.
I look at her as the female version of the Miz, because the Miz is the male version that you can put anybody in the ring with him. The guy's such a professional, so good that makes everybody look like $1 million. Chelsea Green does the same thing for the women's roster.
That's such a great call. I even think she's like, sorry, the last thing I'll say about Chelsea while we're just absolutely praising our Canadian hero, the U.S. women's champion. The thing that's great about her is that she's more naturally funny than The Miz. The Miz is okay. He's kind of funny, but every match, every promo, Chelsea does something that makes you laugh and sticks in your head. Just her facial expressions while getting suplexed was making the women at our party laugh. It was just making everyone laugh because she's so over the top and hilarious all the time. And yeah, she just gets it. She just gets it.
Yep, absolutely. Number 6 was B-Fab coming in. I think it was at this point where I just started laughing at the hilariously long ramp entranceway that they had this year.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7.
That was also
they need those Mania carts.
Yeah.
The little mini rings. That's also a time-honored debate when you're watching the Rumble. Would you sprint in or would you saunter in? And I gotta say, like, a lot of the people were complaining that the walks were taking too long, but I respect it. You gotta saunter. You gotta saunter, boys.
Dude, you're in front of 70,000 people. Your own song is playing. People are typically cheering for you because everyone loves the Royal Rumble. You're going to fucking take that in.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7, Ivy Nile. This was, again, I think she had a very good showing, good performance. Ivy Nile is someone who needs to get more time on Raw. A lot of the main roster viewers haven't seen everything that Ivy Nile can do, and she's so good. And Matt, let's be honest, she's improved from when we were praising her in NXT.
Yeah, she was someone who really blossomed in front of our eyes doing the old NXT pod in the old shop, Boris. And yeah, she was one of our favorites. We picked her out early. She's really, really good submission, ground-based Pokemon, as it were.
And you set her up to maybe be looking at a Lyra Valkyria feud for that Intercontinental title, which is looking really good.
Absolutely. Number 8 was Zoe Stark. Number 9 was Lash Legend. I used to just rail into Lash Legend as being a useless, horrible talent, but she has improved so much in these few years. Again, with NXT having more house shows, with obviously having just training, Lash Legend I think is going to be a very good addition to the main roster in some shape, way, or form down the road.
1,000%, man. With Lash Legend, she's one who is the opposite of Ivy Nile. Ivy Nile has a ton of in-ring talent, really gets the in-ring portion of wrestling, but doesn't have an obvious personality that jumps out at you. Isn't like the type of athlete who you just look at and think, wow, she should be a dominant wrestling champion. Lash Legend is. She is that athlete, former WNBA player. She's huge, beautiful woman, and she is an amazing personality. She's very arrogant. She's very funny. She's out there. She's got that it factor, which is what you can't teach. And you know what you can teach, Boris? Apparently, if you stick with it long enough, is you could teach an athlete like Lash Legend how to wrestle. And she's become a pretty competent wrestler, which is a huge compliment because there was a time where she was probably the worst wrestler in all of WWE.
And Zion Quinn. Her and Zion Quinn were the two that we just completely... Mind you, Zion Quinn, not good in the ring, but that man has all of my respect in the world. You know why. Dating Harley Cameron. Number 10.
I see. I was like, who's he dating?
I know you two were looking at me so puzzled. Number 10 was probably the person who had the most fun in the ring. This is someone who you just see... like they just have fun in the ring. Like they just know what they're doing. You can tell that they have zero nerves in them, and that's Bianca Belair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, she did so good in there. She seemed so smooth, so crisp in there, and she just had it, and she built herself. There's an interesting little wrinkle into her tag team coming out of this, which is nice.
There was a lot of stories being told
1000%.
between her and Naomi. Like there was, it's like, from the whole Jordan Grace thing to eliminations to just a bunch of things. There was a lot of storytelling being told in this Royal Rumble match, which again, it's if people forget about the winner, this Rumble was really well done compared to previous years. Number 11, we had Shayna Baszler.
Yeah,
Number
Shayna came and went. She was okay. It's nice to see. Sorry, I'm lagging behind you guys a little bit, so sorry if I'm talking over you. But yes, Shayna looked good. I did want to point out that Bianca was still wrecking people. She went through everyone who was remaining in the match, including Shayna. She was just eating women for lunch at this point in the Rumble. She got that big baby face dominant push here at this junction of the Rumble.
Yep. Number 12 was the only person that could go back to back, and that was Bayley. Again, Bayley had a great showing this year again. Number 13 was Sonya Deville. And at this point, Pure Fusion Collective all worked together. And they basically tore the head off of Lash Legend. Number 14 was Maxine Dupree. Number 15 was Naomi.
Yeah, and this is where you had. Oh, I'm sorry. This is where you had the two where you started to tell the story with Naomi and Bianca. They start working together, and then a little bit later is where you get the little knife coming in there.
Yep, exactly. Number 16, we had the future world champion in some shape or form. And that's Jada Parker.
Yes, let's go, Boris. Let's go, Jada Parker. I wish you would add a little more to do in this Royal Rumble, but it's still a good. It's a good nod to the progression of her career that the NXT faithful, the NXT powers that be circled her as the person that they would want, and I'm sure Triple H and the WWE powers that be circled Jada as well as someone they want to push right away. They want to tell us this woman belongs. She is a superstar. Yeah, that person has a lot of charisma. I've said this before, but I honestly think she's top 5 promo in the entire wrestling business already. She's one of the best talkers in wrestling, full stop already. So just teach her the in-ring a little more and she'll be a bigger star than even Lash Legend.
Yep. Chelsea Green eliminates Lash Legend, and she acted like she won the Royal Rumble, which again just goes to how amazing Chelsea Green is. Like anything she does just fucking makes you laugh in that ring.
Hmm. Yeah, she's comedy gold, man.
Yep. All right, number 17, and this is when the Rumble really took a turn for the interesting, was Piper Niven. We got her and Chelsea Green working together for a little while at least.
Now, big Scottish lass.
What is it? The secret Hervis or whatever?
Yeah, the secret Hervis. Yep.
Yeah.
The secret Hervis, which was just brilliant. At one point, so Green and Naomi threw punches. Belair pulls Naomi out of the way as Piper Niven was charging, and she inadvertently knocks Chelsea Green off the apron to eliminate her. Oh, the drama. Number 18 was Natalya. Number 19 was a former TNA champion and new WWE roster member, Jordan Grace.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm so happy to see Jordan here.
Yeah. Super happy to see her. She, again, looked like she was just having a fucking ball out there. She looked like she was having so much fun out there, just putting on the moves to everyone. It was great. It was honestly great. It was a lot of fun. And this is when we got a moment with Naomi, because Jordan Grace, in her interview with Chris Van Vliet, really credited Naomi with getting the entire friendship with TNA and WWE. So they hug, they have a moment, but Bianca didn't like that. Again, the drama.
Oh, the drama. Will it be that Jordan Grace secretly attacked Jade? Will it be revealed?
Right.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Was Michin. Number 21 was actually my funniest moment of the Rumble because of Wade Barrett. That was Alexa Bliss. Welcome back, Alexa Bliss. Cole says, I thought she wasn't coming. the internet said she wasn't coming back, to which Wade Barrett essentially said, "Don't read the dirt sheets, you stupid idiot."
That was so funny. I was like, "Yep." Again, I had done a pre-show on my other network, and I even said, "Is she coming?" And it's like, well, the reports are saying she's in contract negotiations, but I'm like, and then somebody in the chat went, "That could be fake," and I'm like, "Yeah, it could just be a fake out," and it was. So.
Yep. Which is the funny part about this whole Drew McIntyre storming out of the building type of thing. We'll talk about that a little later, but yeah, well, it's interesting right now, the relationship that WWE is cultivating with the quote unquote dirt sheets, because you really do have to question almost everything that is being fed to them at this point. Number 22 was Zelina Vega. Number 23 was Candice LeRae. This is already her 5th Royal Rumble out of 8. This is crazy. You always forget she's like one of those people who are just constantly there to help out when she's needed. And I do appreciate that Candice LeRae is getting a bit more of a role on SmackDown every week.
Okay,
I definitely agree.
Something Mel pointed out as we were watching this pay-per-view. Candice LeRae is the only one that didn't get like that zoom in at the entranceway. It kept the long shot her entire entrance. They didn't do the zoom in at her when her at the entrance like they did for every other person in this Rumble. Candice got gypped out of her like glory shot at the entrance.
Well, justice for Candice. That's tough.
Yes.
Number 24 was a debut for many people. That was Stephanie Vaquer coming into the Royal Rumble. Had a few people message me saying that they love her and love her look, love everything that she does. Yeah, Stephanie Vaquer in the Royal Rumble.
I was so happy to see this. I am a big Stephanie Vaquer fan from her time working with Stardom and New Japan, and now over here. She's so good. She's so good. And the more people see her, the more they are like, yes, she is one of the best in the world.
Number 25 was Canadian Hall of Famer Trish Stratus coming into the Rumble. Number 26 was Raquel Rodriguez. And then number 27, which, funny enough, is the spot that has the most winners in, was Charlotte Flair, who got the full-on fucking entrance. Pyro and all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was the only woman to get pyro, which is a big clue. But I believe in the men's Royal Rumble, Roman was the only man to get pyro, and he did not win. So it's a clue, but it's not necessarily a 100% success rate. That if you get pyro and no one else does, you're probably going pretty deep in the Royal Rumble. But yes, yeah, dressed to the nines, costume looking great. Charlotte Flair comes out the clear favorite of this here match.
Number 28, NXT Women's Champion, and my girl, Julia.
Yeah, I was so excited.
Yes, and it was interesting to me that we saw Roxanne Perez, Julia, and Stephanie Vaquer, 3 people who are pushed at the absolute top of the NXT card. And we also saw Lash Legend and Jada Parker, 2 people who are on NXT, but are not in that main event cluster necessarily. And Lash Legend has been bouncing around SmackDown in her tag team, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Jada Parker and Lash Legend, they're not featured the way that Vaquer and Julia and Perez are, but they're kind of like that mid-card. Like, they're almost above the North American Championship in terms of just, like, overall readiness and, like, appeal to the main roster, if that makes sense.
No, yeah. I know exactly what you mean, and I think that that WWE proved that by putting them in this match.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't see anyone from that North American title scene like Tatum Paxley and all those people. Number 29 was Nia Jax. Number 30 was a returning, probably needing, Nikki Bella. I'm not even going to go there.
We were all excited. We're like, who's number 30 going to be? Because everybody that had been listed for this Rumble has come out. We're like, oh, it's a Becky Lynch. We were talking about, and then Nikki Bella's music hits, and everybody in the room just went, oh. We all we're just like, Nikki, really? It was sad.
I understand that. I'm a Nikki Bella truther. I think she worked really hard and improved a lot in her wrestling career. And I like the Bella twins, but I was hoping for Superstar. You know, it could have been R-Truth again. Who knows? But I was definitely hoping for Asuka here. And yeah, Nikki Bella was a little disappointing. Not to be rude to the great Bella legacy.
Yeah, well, I agree. No, like I wholeheartedly agree with you. Having said that, look, I know that there's a small segment of the fans who love her, so they were happy. Not you're trying to please so many different groups of people, and yeah, you're not going to get them all here. The last 6 people in the match were Flair, Perez, Julia, Bella, Bailey, and Jax. What an interesting group of people that WWE chose here to end the match with.
Yeah, I was really like, oh, interesting. Final group here. I was like, okay, interesting.
Well, Nia Jax continues to get multiple eliminations, being pushed really hard. The final three were Charlotte, Nia Jax, and Roxanne fucking Perez. So great to see that. So happy to see that. Perez and Jax are fighting by the ropes. Flair shoved Jax over to eliminate her. She ends up booting Roxanne Perez off the apron to win the Royal Rumble match. And hard to tell, but it looked like she was smiling. Hard to tell nowadays, but it looked like Charlotte Flair was smiling at some point. She wins the match in 70 minutes, 20 seconds.
That is a stiff one from Boris, stiffer than Charlotte's upper lip. Currently on Cage Match, this match is rated 5.78 out of 10. So it's a soft pass from the wrestling community. I think it was a little better than that. I had fun watching this Rumble.
I would give this a solid 7 out of 10 Rumble. I think a lot of people are bringing that vote down because of the winner, but I'm not particularly excited that Charlotte Flair won this, but the Rumble itself was a good, solid Rumble with some surprises, some really good in-ring stuff, built some stories coming out of this. And I would give this probably like a 7 out of 10 Rumble.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair score.
Agree.
I would give that the same, to be honest. Look, people are just going to judge this Rumble because of the ending. But like I said, there's so many possible storylines coming out of this. You had Julia, Roxanne Perez, and Stephanie Vaquer essentially representing NXT. You had the whole Naomi and Bianca Belair situation. You had Jordynne Grace debuting. You had Nikki Bella coming back. You had Alexa Bliss coming back. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez doing whatever it is that they do. There was so much actually happening in this Royal Rumble that people are only focusing on the ending, very similar to the men's Rumble. Like, this is a very well thought of battle royale.
And again,
Yeah, I agree.
I just said to the Julia factor. She eliminated Jordynne Grace. I feel like that is the start of your setup for Stand and Deliver, right there. Those two have Stand and Deliver by getting it, because Jordan's going to come out at the end of Vengeance Day after Julia retains. Again, my personal thought, and you're going to see that stare down, and that's going to be the setup for Stand and Deliver, and then Jordynne Grace can go to the main roster after that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It won't hurt Jordynne Grace one bit having a quick stunt in NXT. Give her a main event slot. Sell tickets to Stand and or Deliver, which by the way is happening at 3 p.m. Eastern, which is literally just hours before the Rumble starts. So that's going to be a long motherfucking day. But yeah, no, we're starting to really see some cool things happen, and yeah. So that was the Women's Royal Rumble. Match number 2 was for the WWE Tag Team titles. And if you had told me that this match was going to be on a 4-match card, I would have laughed at you. And that is DIY's Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa versus Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley, and Chris Sabin in a best of 3 falls match.
Yes, 2 out of 3 falls, Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY. Who'd have thunk it? But you know what? As awesome as it was to see this on the Royal Rumble on Netflix, the biggest stage, I guess second or third biggest stage possible in wrestling, as good as it was to see this, it kind of was hurt by being placed on this Royal Rumble card right after that Women's Royal Rumble. Lots of people went to the bathroom. Lots of people went to the concession stand, buying t-shirts, buying drinks. The crowd was pretty dead for these guys, and it did hurt the match, and that sucks because if you're a hardcore fan, you've known these guys for years and years, and you'll love them.
Yeah. Again, I was gonna say DIY, amazing tag team, versus your favorite tag team's favorite tag team in the Motor City Machine Guns, and I thought really good match. Again, I've loved all of these men for so long. They are all incredible professional wrestlers. I was super excited for this match, and I think the match delivered in so many good ways. There was so many good spots in here. Very well worked. You had the Street Profits getting involved and turning heel here, or solidifying their heelness, and I guess more or less to really cost the Machine Guns here. So again, I enjoyed this match. A little shorter than I expected it to be, but it was a good match.
Yeah, 14 minutes it went for the 3 falls. First fall went to DIY after some cleverness in terms of who the legal man was. Happened right away in 3 minutes, 15 seconds. And the second fall happened after a skull and bones on Gargano in just over 9 minutes. And then 5 minutes later, we saw the end of the match. Very quick match, very fun match, though. And it really built a lot of story because, as Andre just mentioned, the Street Profits came back and they beat the shit out of everyone. And kudos to Michael Cole for taking the time to explain why Street Profits were motivated in the way that they did things. I'm like, Cole has been just amazing. Yes, I'm going to praise Cole, Blaine. Shut up for a second. We're going to praise Cole. He's done really well over the past few months. And again, this is what I love about Cole is as we're talking about the casual fans and people who may not, like Andre, like yourself, who don't watch each and every single week, they're doing a really good job of explaining storylines and what's important and the key takeaways that you should take to the next few shows.
Yeah, again, he did a lot. Again, I follow through a lot of great podcasting, but again, it does help paint a picture for those that do not watch every TV show every single week. So yeah.
Matt, anything to add?
No, yeah, I totally agree about Michael Cole doing a lot of the legwork, filling in a lot of the blanks for people who need that that storyline, explanation. Cole is really good at doing that, and yeah, with Vince McMahon not literally yelling the lines that Michael Cole has to say in his ear, and then Cole just regurgitate what Vince McMahon is saying backstage. He's a significantly better announcer. Since Vince left, Cole has been night and day better because he's not just repeating what Vince is screaming in his ear. So it's like it's you can see it on the McMahon documentary. You can see how overproduced Michael Cole's commentary used to be. So of course he's doing a better job. I feel like we all must remember that.
Agreed. All right, third match of the night was the ladder match for the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. As already mentioned, a bit of a slower match. And Matt, I want to bring this to you because we've talked about this. We've seen a lot of ladder matches. We've covered a lot of ladder matches throughout the years, and we've had this conversation. And the conversation that we've always had is, at what point are two people just going to kill themselves in a ladder match because it's spot after spot after spot after spot? And I kind of feel like WWE has noticed that, and the psychology behind the ladder match is starting to change. And this is the outcome of that.
You had some glorious spots in this, but you had a lot of good psychology work rate in this match of guys using the ladder, but more unconventionally, not for the big giant dive or the big giant crazy shit. You had the guys working around the ladder, using ladder in innovative ways, and 2 very big spots in here towards the end.
Yep.
Yeah, not to turn it into like an AEW versus WWE thing, and not to be like tribalistic in that way about it, but I think it is a factual statement to say that in AEW, this match would have been way more of a stunt show and just doing a lot of crazy things. And they built this match around 2 or 3 very insane stunts, and then did a lot of selling, did a lot of build up, and they tried to lay out the match in an interesting and different way with the whole brawl in the crowd for the first 5 minutes of it. And I really feel like they put a lot of thought into this match and tried to make every stunt that they did land as hard as it could. And Kevin Owens was blessed here, taking one of the most insane, greatest, most beautiful, aesthetically pleasing bumps in wrestling history to end this match.
Yeah, but the bump he took earlier in the match just reminded me of Homer Simpson in the Big Brother Sisters episode of The Simpsons when he falls on the hydrant. Like he just bent so awkwardly on that ladder. It just looked much more painful than the bump that ended the match.
Yes. When he goes to the aquarium with his little brother Pepsi, aka Peppy, this is even more painful than it looks.
Yep. And I know a lot of people didn't like this match again, and it goes to what I had mentioned earlier. People expect spot after spot after spot in ladder matches. I had people texting me, again, casual viewers, my best friend who watches maybe the Royal Rumble, maybe WrestleMania, and that's it, right? And he's like, I don't want to shit talk anyone because this is not my place, because I know they're killing each other, but this is a very slow match.
Yes, yeah, and it was by design. It was slow, and if it was too boring for some, that's fine. But I felt like, unlike the tag team match, which to me suffered with a dead crowd and felt a little rushed, it was almost like they cut the tag team matches time a little bit to make sure that the Royal Rumbles and this match got all the time it needed to breathe. And this is where the party, you can talk a little bit amongst yourself with your friends and still see the big spots and still get the essence of the match. So I thought this was great. I thought it achieved exactly what it needed to do. And I'm intrigued for the storyline beats going forward. I thought this was a great match and the best thing on the show comfortably.
All right, so Cody climbs on the broadcast table, hits Owens. They go back and forth a little bit. Owens hits Cody with a low blow. Owens goes for a package pile driver, but Cody blocks it, and he does a Alabama slammer on the ladder bridge that went over the broadcast table and on the ring apron that looked absolutely ridiculous. Sami Zayn was out there, which was very interesting as well. Cody goes to the ring. And very awkwardly and slowly grabs both belts. Dude could have just taken 1 second, grabbed the belt, and then taken a step to go to the top. He wanted to grab the belts from the very last rung, which is a very interesting thing that I noticed. But again, devil's in the details. 25 minutes, 5 seconds. Cody Rhodes defeats Kevin Owens in a ladder match to become the undisputed champ at this point. During his celebration, I love how he kept just staring at Kevin Owens like, you got what you deserve type of thing. And Sami Zayn, I honestly did think Sami Zayn was going to pop him at some point.
Yeah, so Kevin Owens gets Alabama slammed through a ladder bridge in the most perfect turn of fate of coincidence ever. His head kind of wedges in one of the holes of the ladder, goes arse over tea kettle, and sits there with his head inside a ladder for the next 10 minutes as Cody slowly wins this match, slowly climbs down, celebrates. Sami Zayn comes out to check on his friend, and then Cody steps up on the announce table over a bloody vanquished Kevin Owens and a pissed off, sad Sami Zayn. He just saw his friend almost die in this match, and it looked like Cody was talking some shit, and then was kind of like, is he okay? Are you okay, Kevin? At the end, it kind of seemed like Cody developed a conscience, but at the same time, he stood over his kill. You know what I mean? He was the lion who ruled over his kingdom, and the hyenas, as it were, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, did not like that. But I thought that was a very intriguing little ending to this match, and Kevin Owens did an amazing job. Just a great performance by KO, especially in this one.
KO, honestly, anytime he takes an L, he makes the winner just look like $1 billion. He's so good at losing.
That's a great point.
WWE Evolve is going to premiere Wednesday, March 5th on Tubi. Tubi is owned by Fox, hence therefore AEW Aftershock probably won't be on Fox anymore or any Fox affiliate.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that Tubi fact. That's a good job by you there, Boris. And also running free on the internet opposing Dynamite is an interesting call.
I love it. I love how There's so much to unpack there. Tyrese Halliburton was there. O'Shea Jackson was there, and another bunch of other people. Then it was time for the 30-man Royal Rumble match. Number 1 was Rey Mysterio, and number 2 was one of the most over acts right now in WWE, and that's Penta.
Yes, yeah, it was awesome to see Penta creep into the ring. Spooky skeleton luchador Penta. They cut 10 minutes out of the tag team match and gave it to this entrance. Penta is still walking to the ring.
Yeah, he is so good. Like his walk, it honestly, Penta is a La Parka that gets given opportunities. Like that's all Penta is.
Oh, great call. Great call. And as a lucha truther, Boris, you know how good La Parka really was and didn't really get his chance to show it. But that is such an excellent call. 100% no notes.
And seeing Rey Mysterio and Penta in the same ring, oh, that was just beautiful to me. That was really good. They gave them time. Number 3 was Chad Gable in what sets up Chad Gable's worst nightmare type of situation. But something, Andre, that I wanted to bring up to you is how over Chad Gable is really starting to get. As someone who doesn't watch week to week, what was your thoughts on like that dynamic between the 3 that started this Royal Rumble?
Yeah, I went out of my way to watch Penta's debut against Chad Gable, and just Chad Gable. It's so amazing to see him rising now under, because again, he was a tag team project for Triple H when he was in NXT, and you can see now that Triple H has control again. He wants to make sure this guy is a star because he sees a star in this man, and he's doing Kurt Angle, but in his own way. He's like, you can see the Kurt Angle influence, but he's not a carbon copy. He's his own version. He's doing it so well with this just crazy intensity, and just watching him come in to Rey Mysterio and Penta, and then eventually having to deal with Santos Escobar on top of it all was just great.
Exactly. So before we go on that, real quick, now that you're Mac, Penta's little possible moment where his feet may or may not have touched the floor.
Oh. Yeah, that was risky. I'm glad. I wonder. We'd have to go back and go frame by frame to see if he actually did, but it was very close, and he's lucky he didn't just slip off that bottom rope and just splat on the ground, Stone Cold Steve Austin style. There's a Rumble, I believe 95 was it, where Austin did that?
Seven.
Screwed himself out of 40
5.
minutes.
It was 5. You're right. It was 5.
No.
5.
Yeah. Not the storyline, but yeah, 5. In real life, Austin was supposed to stay in the Royal Rumble. I think it was 95 and screwed himself out of like 25, 30 extra minutes of screen time, accidentally falling out way too early. And yeah, Penta almost did it.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Number 4 was Carmelo Hayes. This is his second Royal Rumble. He had a really good showing out there to start things off, which he really does need. And to me, it was more a reminder that, my God, do we need to reunite Carmelo Hayes and Trick motherfucking Williams. Number 5 was Santos Escobar. Now, this was also, again, similar to Carmelo Hayes. Like, this guy needs a bit of a showing, so he did well in this first little bit. But Chad Gable was in the ring with Rey Mysterio, Penta, Carmelo Hayes, Santos Escobar, 3 Latinos and a black man. Man, Donald Trump's worst nightmare right there.
I love it. Damn DEI wrestling, Boris. No, just kidding, of course. Just kidding, of course. But yeah, Chad Gable, it's going to be a little bit of an insult to Chad Gable, but it's more a compliment to Kurt Angle. Chad Gable is so good in the ring. Like Andre was saying, so crisp, such an intelligent, awesome, impactful worker. And it kind of shows you how special Kurt Angle was, because Chad Gable is like 95 to 100% as good a wrestler as Kurt Angle, but he's nowhere near the personality of Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was also such a fun, goofy, amazing performer. And that personality aspect of wrestling has always been what Gable kind of struggles with a little bit.
And I think we're gonna get that, right? Like, remember when Kurt Angle started, he was very stale and very boring. You could tell he had a personality, but it wasn't until the Alliance stuff where we really saw the Kurt Angle just fucking go. Right, Chad Gable, I think, will have the opportunity to get there. But what I really loved about the fact that he was with 3 luchadors, especially, Carmelo Hayes, sure, but 3 luchadors, is the whole storyline that's going on right now and where that's going to lead, where he's going to learn the quote-unquote dark arts of lucha libre.
Yes.
It's very interesting. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. And it was a great start to this Rumble.
So great. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's like you said, 3 spooky Mexicans beating up an American hero. This is the future that liberals want.
Number 6 was Otis, which again adds to the Chad Gable misery, which, again, dude, they are doing this in front of 70,000 people on a Netflix crowd on Peacock in the USA, but more importantly on Netflix internationally. Dude, Chad Gable was given a huge position to start this Royal Rumble.
Great call. 1,000%.
Yeah.
Number 7 was Braun Breaker. I thought he was Braun Breaker with one of the best spears in history of spearing people.
Yeah, he hit a couple mean ones on this, as we'll get to as they occur. But Braun Breaker had a breakout performance. He's one who, again, is an incredible wrestler. And if you're a wrestling purist, it doesn't take you long to figure out that this guy's very special in the ring. He's another Chad Gable who is a special performer in the ring, but just needs a little bit outside of the ring. It was a good shout to have him spear the bejesus out of a famous YouTuber just in a few minutes.
Yep. Number 8 was Akira Tozawa. He runs past Carmelo Hayes, plays to the crowd. Carmelo Hayes felt disrespected, beats the living shit out of him. So we need someone to step in. It could be any wrestler on the roster, but no. Triple H, the boss. And I would be pissed off if I was a wrestler. Not like really, but like in a storyline, it's like, what the fuck? Triple H goes to IShowSpeed, gets him out there. He even gets a fucking elimination, which sets up the world's greatest spear, a spear that we're going to be seeing everywhere for the next few weeks.
You're going to be seeing it not just on wrestling TV, but you're going to be seeing it on your TikTok feed, on YouTube Shorts. You're going to be seeing this over and over. Yeah, IShowSpeed does a backflip, pretty impressive backflip, gets an elimination, as you say, and then he's just kind of walking. He's doing like a little semicircle in the ring, and as this is happening, Braun Breaker is hitting the ropes with the speed of Usain Bolt, as he is known to do, and this man, with all the momentum he could possibly muster, he hit IShowSpeed so fucking hard with the spear. IShowSpeed's head whiplashed back and forth. This was one of the most violent collisions in the history of wrestling. There are entire years of ECW programming that weren't as violent as this one fucking spear. This was a brutalization of IShowSpeed.
Daniel Pewter, 2005, move over. 2025, IShowSpeed. You got your ass handed to you.
Oh, yeah. Again, this was beautiful. I've watched it so many times from so many different fan cam angles. Just this last night and this morning, the amount of people that are posting different angles. Some of the angles are better than the WWE shot because you're seeing it from like so high up, and you're seeing him just getting shit wrecked, and you're like, yeah.
Oh, he tackled this man into the shadow realm. It was crazy. And like the big thing about wrestling is it's not fake, it's predetermined. And wrestlers, people in the business, hate it when you call it fake. This is why, if you ever want to play the it's not fake card, show them this tackle, because there was nothing fake about this tackle. Braun Breaker ran this motherfucker over.
Dude, not only that, Braun Breaker gorilla presses him onto Otis. Otis catches him, looks at him, is like, fuck you, and does the funniest fall away slam onto the announce desk.
Then he dumps him like a sack of laundry onto the announce desk. IShowSpeed, rough showing, but you know what? He earned my respect by getting absolutely fucking vaporized by the son of Rick Steiner on this show. 5-star match for that alone. 10,000 stars.
Oh, so good. I laughed so hard. Like, again, everyone's going to be watching that spear, but to me, the fall-away slam must have hurt 10 times worse.
I don't know if it was probably not fun, but no, I don't think anything in the history of Earth hurt worse than that spear.
Number 9 was Sheamus. Number 10 was Jimmy Uso. Number 11 was Andrade with the black mask. Penta tosses Andrade over the top. Andrade skinned the cat, as they say. Sheamus and Ray get back to it. Number 12 was Jacob Fatu. And man, this guy, like, look, Andre, Matt, we watch a lot of wrestling. We've seen Jacob Fatu matches in the past. We know how good this guy was and is and will be.
Mm-hmm.
But I just love the fact that he's getting this platform to show everyone else that.
Yeah.
It was
100%.
always,
MLW, Jacob Fatu was tremendous. And now to see him where he is at now is just, I'm so happy for the dude.
It was always a little bit of a worry for fans out there. Like, is he a Vince McMahon guy? Does he have the body? Does he have the speaking ability to be pushed in Vince McMahon's style of wrestling? And I fear it was always going to be a no. So now that Vince McMahon is gone, one of the many benefits to the world and to the business of professional wrestling is that we do have a Jacob Fatu fucking killing it on the main roster and the biggest stages like the Royal Rumble.
Yep, Fatu eliminates Gable, Ray, and Andrade. The disrespect to Latinos and people who hate Latinos on that one. The other thing was seeing Jacob Fatu and Penta go at it. Man, that was awesome. That was really cool to see. Number 13, Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig Kaiser or Santino Marella, who got eliminated quicker?
Santino Marella.
Yes, yeah. Santino did technically because Santino, he was only in the ring for a second, but like he ran right to the ring, ran in. So Ludwig had more camera time because he hesitated to get into the ring. He was stalking around, and then as soon as he walked in, he was quickly dispatched. Tough beat for Ludwig.
Yep. Number 14 was The Miz. Didn't last too long. Fatu just dumps him over the top rope, but he does survive. There was a lot of Fatu chants happening at this point. Matt, we talked about this on last week's show. At some point, they're going to have to pull the trigger with Jacob Fatu and turn him face.
Oh, yeah, and that's coming sooner than later. I almost wonder if there's a way to do this Jacob Fatu Jey Uso story, possibly like maybe a double turn down the road, because fans with this Royal Rumble appearance and win for the champion of the 2025 Royal Rumble, as we'll get into here, the fans are starting to turn on this guy a little bit. Definitely the hardcore fans are. So I wonder if they could stoke those fires and in 6 months, 8 months, do a double turn, and Jacob Fatu is your big babyface Samoan successor to Roman Reigns.
Wrestling fans are turning to the equivalent of indie rock fans. As soon as someone gets a little popular with the mainstream, they turn on them.
Nah, that's a great call. We're getting a little hipster, getting to be a little hipster in this here community.
Speaking of which, number 15, Joe Hendry. Someone said his name, and he appeared. Joe Hendry appeared at the Royal Rumble. If you blacked out for a couple years, you wake up in 2025, and you see that the TNA champion Joe Hendry shows up on the Royal Rumble, gets one of the, if not the largest pop of the night, I would be thinking, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, man. Choke slamming WWE wrestlers and interacting with Roman Reigns and John Cena and all these guys. Crazy to see.
All I know.
Go ahead, Matt.
All I know is that I believe in Joe Hendry, and TNA was, even though he only spent a few minutes in the Rumble, they were so happy for him to walk all the way down, prominently wearing that TNA World Championship. They were, you know, the company. That's more shout out that the company's gotten than their entire working relationship with AEW.
Andre said it, not us. Don't come at us. Andre's email is Andre C at, I don't know. No, but like, yeah, it was great. It was really cool to see Sheamus's reaction during that entrance. You can tell that he was so happy for him.
Yeah.
No,
Number
sure.
16
nice to see
was,
your European boys.
Yep. Number 16 was Roman Reigns, who's wearing the Ula Fala, gets all the pyro. His first Royal Rumble in 5 years. Reigns eliminates The Miz. Joe Hendry and Breaker, they give each other loving eyes. They start beating down on Reigns a little bit. They go back and forth. Number 17 was Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, so I thought Drew had a fine showing here in the Rumble. Seems like they set up something with he and Damian Priest down the road. Now, there are rumors on the internet that Drew McIntyre was all mad and he stormed out of the building and was yelling at people and stuff because he was underutilizing this Royal Rumble. I outright do not believe those reports.
I 100% back you up on that. Yeah, it's ludicrous. Drew McIntyre is one of the biggest team players. He's one of the people that has benefited from the Triple H era. He's not stupid. Ask Corey Graves how it goes when you say stupid shit. So,
yeah. Exactly right. And I feel like Drew McIntyre has a long history of using the internet correctly and working the internet fans. For example, a lot of fans think he and CM Punk actually hate each other, which again is ludicrous. They just did a really good job building a professional wrestling story that carried the company of WWE for the last year. But those guys do not hate each other. They have no reason to hate each other. That was just a wrestling story that was really done well. This is what Drew McIntyre does, guys.
18, Finn Balor. 19, Shinsuke Nakamura. And number 20 was Jey Uso.
Yeet.
Yeah,
Yeet.
Jey Uso.
Yeet. Yeet.
That entrance.
Yeeting.
That was
Yeeting
crazy.
all over the place.
Matt, you had people who are casuals at your place. What did they mention anything about that entrance and Jey Uso in general?
Well, you can see how popular he is, right? Like 65,000 people or whatever it is, with all the lights and the lasers and everyone standing up on their feet doing his taunt. It makes him look like a humongous star. So there's definitely like, who's this guy? Like, blah, blah. Oh, he's an Uso, but he's like the king of the Usos right now. He is not the chief, but he is a very popular Uso, you see. So yeah, no, he definitely stands out like a sore thumb.
Yep, absolutely. Number 21 is, I guess, being saved for returning superstars. If you look at the past and you look at last night, AJ Styles makes his return. First appearance since October.
I was so happy to see AJ Styles back. I haven't been an AJ Styles homer since the TNA days. He came out, I immediately put my hands up doing the AJ Styles pose. I was like, yeah! I'm so happy to see him back.
Yeah, it'll be really cool to see what he does. This is someone who absolutely has to make an appearance on TNA in some shape or form very soon. Let's be honest, AJ doesn't have a lot of years left. He might not even have a lot of year left, but he's got something left in the tank. Last night proved that. He looks great. He moved great. Happy to see him back, but I think myself and anyone who watched a second of AJ Styles' career wants to see him back in TNA at least for one match.
1,000%. He was Mr. TNA in his career until like 2016 or whatever it was. So yeah, that would be really nice, and I'm sure you'd get a huge reaction.
A small part of me, a small part of me wished he'd come out to his old phenomenal theme, because being that there's the partnership there, they can get the music now. There's just a little part of me wanted his old theme playing when he came out of this.
I love
Rumble.
the fact that they reverted him back to his original WWE theme, not the weird Def Rebel remix. Number 22 was Braun Strowman. Number 23 was John Cena. This is when the Rumble slowed down a little bit, because over the next few entrances, we had a lot of like the main eventers coming out. So 23 was Cena, 24 was Punk, 25 was Seth Rollins, and then number 26 was the biggest main eventer of all time, Dominic Mysterio.
Dirty Dom. Yeah, he is a favorite of some and the least favorite wrestler of others. But yeah, I think real ones know how hilarious and great Dirty Dom is. Immediately trying to suplex Roman Reigns and Roman swatting him away like the bug that he is.
Yep, that was great. Number 27 was Sami Zayn. Number 28 was Damian Priest. It's just like big name after big name after big name after big name at this point. Number 29 was L.A. night. And number 30 was Logan Paul.
Yeah. That was a little. Did Logan Paul say? I didn't see the buildup, but someone kept saying at our party that Logan Paul said he was just coming out 30, and then he just did. So that's like lame. Like, did they explain that in the story, or he just got 30 somehow?
I forgot that he existed, so I forgot that he was even in the Rumble, to be honest.
Fair.
Wow.
Yeah. It was
Look,
an anticlimactic number 30, though, to say the least.
for us, there might be some Ed Hardy wearing douchebag who loves this guy somewhere. Right?
Yeah. There are a couple. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think we're all on the same page with Logan Paul. Like, we've seen it. He's obviously an incredible athlete and a great performer, but he's such a dick in real life, such a grifter piece of shit that I kind of don't want to see him on my TV. It's not like Heat. It's not like, oh, I want to see this guy get his ass kicked. It's changed the channel. It makes me want to unsubscribe from Netflix Heat, you know?
Yeah. Rollins hits Reigns with a super kick. Reigns moves, clotheslines him, holding on to the ropes. They're both on the apron. Then Punk pushes Reigns and Rollins to eliminate him. Then douchebag Paul eliminates Punk. Then we get Punk, Rollins, and Reigns doing what Punk, Rollins, and Reigns do best at ringside. And yeah, let's talk about this a little bit. Andre, you have some feels.
Yeah. Dude, I honestly, the whole brawl is one thing. It's the start of it all when Rollins double stomped Roman's head into that mat on the floor was perfect. He looked like he killed him with that double stomp. I loved it. And then the brawling with Punk was great. The stomp to on the steps was good. But the best thing about it was that double stomp to his head, like both feet into his head on the floor, looked like he murdered him.
Yep, it looked crazy. Matt, thoughts on all of this and what you think is going to happen?
Well, it sure seems like this is your WrestleMania match now. This is going to be a triple threat at WrestleMania. That's what it seems like. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, possibly as like a number one contender match or however they're going to do it or gussy it up. It sure seems like that is going to be a match. All three of those characters interacted with each other at the end. All three were mad at one another. And then Seth Rollins fucking laid waste to everyone, as Andre said. And it was a very interesting picture. I also think Logan Paul eliminating CM Punk is a little clue for down the road. That's probably going to happen at some point in 2025. Logan Paul versus CM Punk one-on-one, which is an interesting matchup. Two people ideologically opposed.
Yeah, well, it is what it is at that point, right?
That's not
was something
different, actually. Perhaps less different than it would seem.
Exactly.
Perhaps those two guys are a little less different than it would seem.
Yeah, you never know. Look, I like this because something that I've been saying for so long, we're just going to talk about it now, right? Like, hey, surprise, Jey Uso wins the Royal Rumble in a couple minutes. But we've talked about this, Matt. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, these guys don't need a title match for WrestleMania. Like, these guys can build a very strong program on their own without the title, and they did a great job of telling us that story and did a great job of setting up a story. So there are people who are saying, oh, nothing happened in the Men's Rumble. It only seismically shifted everything that we know about the main event scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, tons happened in the Men's Rumble, and you're completely right. The problem is they did set up Seth and Cena and all these guys to do things outside of winning the Royal Rumble. The problem is they forgot to set up Jey Uso to actually win the fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a big mistake was having Uso lose to Gunther on Saturday night's main event recently. I feel like that was a big mistake just because we've already seen that story beat. We've already seen Uso lose to Gunther. He didn't need another big loss in a title match. He didn't need another big loss on a big stage. We've seen it. They needed to build him up. If he was going to win the Royal Rumble, and they knew that last week, which I imagine they did, he should have beaten someone on that show. He needed to make a big statement here. And yeah, I winning the Royal Rumble is one thing, but I feel like the reason why it left such a sour taste in everyone's mouth is because he's been losing all his big matches leading up to this point.
Yeah, it happens. But like, hey, but look at the LA Dodgers, perennial losers, and then they win one. It happens, right? You can tell a good story from this. Again, let it play out. Like, let's see what happens next. Also, Elimination Chamber is going to determine who faces the other champion, most likely Cody. And there are still major names on the docket. So people who are saying that, they've ruined WrestleMania and ruined the title scene, we're just getting started, people.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, again, there's so much you can come, and again, yeah. While Jay hasn't been built properly up to winning this Rumble, you still have 2.5, 3 months of 2.5 months to get him ready to be that star that's going to be probably the night one main event. I'm guessing against Gunther. And again, nope, nothing's for sure. But he did say at the press conference he wants Gunther. He wants that shot against Gunther. So again, you can tell a great story of these next couple of months in how you build him up to get to that point.
Yep, exactly. All right, a couple more prediction things that we're going to talk about in a little bit, but let's finish this stuff. The final entrants were Cena, Paul, and Joy. My God, everything in my mind, I don't know why, but just because of the way that WWE has been very much for the casuals lately, I Tony Khan'd it and feared for my life, thinking that they were going to give Logan Paul a win.
Yeah, there was a non-0% chance. Obviously, Logan Paul was in the final three. I bet it was discussed. I bet it was talked about, and it wouldn't shock me if down the line, one of these days, Logan Paul either wins the world title or wins a Money in the Bank, wins a Royal Rumble, such that you think it's going to happen.
Let him win in Saudi Arabia. Let him win that one. No one's watching anyways.
There you go.
But yeah, final two were Cena and Jay. A little back and forth. The ending a little anticlimactic as Jay super kicks Cena. They're on the apron. They're going back and forth. John Cena holding onto the top rope. He's dangling 1 foot over the side of the ring. Cena hoisted up Jay for an attitude adjustment, but Jay slips away and just calmly shoves him to the floor, much to the surprise of Cena. Jey Uso wins the 30-man Royal Rumble in 80 minutes and 15 seconds.
Yeah, and people were not pleased with this Royal Rumble. On Cage Match right now, this Rumble has a 4.93 out of 10. That is a failing grade for this Royal Rumble. We're in the yellow getting red on that one. That's shocking to me. I didn't think it was that bad. And if nothing else, this gave us iShow Speed getting destructed by Broad Breaker. So it's a classic match for that reason alone. But I think this Rumble is being overhated because people are very unsatisfied with the choice of winner.
Yep.
I have to say I disagree with that completely. I ranked this like 7.5 to 8 to an 8. Because again, it's the stories you told in this Rumble. It created so many potential WrestleMania angles coming out of this match, which is what the Rumble is supposed to do. And I think Jay, if you build him right, is going to be a great challenger. So again, I really enjoyed this Rumble.
Here's the thing, though, Matt, you mentioned this last week, and this is it for Jey Uso. If he loses against Gunther at WrestleMania, he is Lex Luger levels of disappointment.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I feel like he's already Lex Lugered, fully Lugered to some. I don't think it to everyone he is because he's way too popular. Like the casual fan, the fan who's only seen Jey Uso being led to the ring by Travis Scott smoking a blunt and then winning the Royal Rumble. Those people are still ready to yeet with everyone. But it's like the hardcore fan is going to feel a little dissatisfied, a little like underserved in this super hyper casual wrestling environment that we're in. Like, this is something that we were talking about before they even got to Netflix, Boris. Like, they are going to have more eyeballs on the product. They are going to dumb it down and change certain things, and that will piss the hardcores off. And I feel like Jey Uso is the perfect encapsulation of that at this moment. This is the king of the casuals is Jey Uso.
Agreed, but at the same time, I bet you more people would be pissed off if Punk won. Oh, they're giving it to Punk. Everyone knew that was going to happen. If Roman Reigns wins, here we go with Roman Reigns again. Like, who did you want to win, people? They gave us something new. They gave us an alternative. They're opening it up at WrestleMania for a bunch of new storylines. In my opinion, this was a perfect win.
Yeah. Again, I'm happy they're building something new.
Exactly.
We do have some feedback on the board.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Right? Like, it's
It's
hard
not
to
easy. Actually, we should talk about we should talk about if we think Hiroki Goto is going to win the title, which isn't exactly something new necessarily, although it kind of is something new in a way. But yeah, we have some feedback on the board with people who are not pleased with how this shook down and are not pleased with the Jey Uso selection. And I'm excited to read some of that and get into it. But I think all of us here on this podcast are kind of like, yeah, I kind of saw this coming. I predicted Jey Uso was going to be the main event of WrestleMania. I kind of saw this coming. It kind of felt like they were fucking building this guy up for something pretty big, and they didn't get there in the exact way that I predicted, but obviously they're pushing the guy who is super popular and getting walked down to the ring by rappers while the entire arena jumps out of their seats for him in the entrance. Like, obviously he's cooking something up here, guys, you know? Like,
look at the top 5 sellers.
Look
at the top 5 sellers of WWE Shop. Those guys are going to be guys running everything come WrestleMania time, and that's Penta and Jey Uso. By the way, Penta has 3 of the top 5 bestsellers.
Yeah, that's crazy. A little of that is like shiny new toy situation, right? Like, Penta's hot and fresh right now, and that will cool off a little bit. But part of that is because Penta's fucking cool, and he's really good at his job, and he should be pushed to the moon.
He makes everything look cool. Like, I don't know what it is about him. He is like, just him strutting down to the ring. He makes that look cool. Like, there's just something about Penta right now. His aura. I don't know what it is. I just don't know what it is.
Absolutely. So much aura out of Pentagon. Hey, baby, some people have it, some people don't, baby. It's charisma. That's the way life is. And it leaps off the fucking screen when Penta's on there.
Facebook.com, search for A+ Productions. That's where you can find everything that we talk about. Again, thank you so much to everyone who posts. I know that, like, sometimes it can be a little negative, but you know what? We're very passionate about pro wrestling, and you know we love everyone's opinions. And thank you guys so freaking much. It's honestly it's a highlight of my day to read what's going on in the board when Blaine puts up his thoughts and opinions, and then Matt contradicts him, and me and Andre just laugh. It's always a good time here on A+ Productions.
Good times had by all. But yeah, so let's get into the feedback for this show, because it feels like we're a little bit on an island on this one.
Yep, we are. Rick Lutek said Roxanne hanging in as part of the final 2 was pretty cool. It looked like slight hesitation over how she was going to be eliminated, but otherwise, she may have proven she's ready for the bigger programs now. Has Jey Uso laid the tracks for what's going to be the main event for WrestleMania Day 1? So that one, I'm more happy about Roxanne Perez. Let's quickly talk about Roxanne Perez, the Austin Matthews of WWE. Yeah, man, she's just got it. She's got it, and again, it is something that you can't teach.
The prodigy, the Victor Wembanyama, the Connor McDavid, the Austin Matthews. She really does. And her only flaw as a babyface was that she was not a good promo yet. And as a heel, she's really found her character. She's now like pretty confident. I would say she's a good promo. She is definitely like an entertaining character. She has all the tools, all the tricks in the bag. She doesn't have a lot of size, but that matters far less in the WWE than it used to. And it matters far less on the women's side than it does the men's side anyway, just inherently. So I feel like Roxanne is going to be a huge star in the WWE for the next 20 years.
Andre?
Yeah, she's amazing. She's the Jaden Daniels of it all, man. She's gonna be a star. She's gonna be a star for a long time. Yeah, I had one rookie. That's it. But yeah, I'm so impressed by how good she. Again, I gave her my best woman on the mic this year because she just has evolved in such a great way to be so entertaining, and I think just absolutely tremendous. And this just shows she can hang with the best.
Yeah. Blaine says, good show. If anything brought it down, it was all the stalling in between matches with the ads and whatnot. Jey Uso winning was a legit out of left field surprise. He definitely deserves it, but if they're going to do it, they need to go all the way with him and book his match last instead of how they did Kofi being in the middle of the card. I'd almost rather he faced Cody in that case. On the women's side, I'm very surprised we didn't get Becky returning, but I guess it wasn't needed. Charlotte can have a great match with anyone, well, except for Ronda Rousey, but neither of the main roster matchups do anything for me, and I'd almost rather she choose to face Julia. I really like the psychology in the tag title match, and the ladder match was really good, though I think would have worked better had it main evented a different show.
That's an interesting point. I feel like the ladder match worked where it was, but that is an interesting point. It might have been more impactful. It might go down as like an iconic match just from the bumps that Kevin Owens took if it was the main event in Toronto or something like that. Yeah,
well,
that might be correct.
But that's the problem, right? January, February, or whatever, the first two shows of the year, you have Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber, right? There's not really a lot of more room for a ladder match or a gimmick match of sorts.
Yeah, very rarely they will put a non-Rumble as the main event, but it's rare. Even the Cactus Jack versus Triple H street fight from 2000, possibly the single greatest Royal Rumble match at a Royal Rumble show, that was not the main event. They did the fucking 30-man Royal Rumble after that match.
Yep. Exactly. That's exactly it. I was going to bring that up, and fuck, I recently watched that actually, like last week. Such a good match. Lives up to it. Triple H bled like a fucking he just bled like a mofo, as did Cactus Jack. Such a good show that led us to one of the worst WrestleMania main events. Jay Lambe said, Royal Rumble was a fun show. The women's Rumble was good, but predictable. Great pop for the Bliss return. Didn't care for the tag match. That's when I got up to get my food. The Street Profits ending was kind of stupid. Are they heels or not? They attacked MCMG, the faces, to help DIY the heels win, then attacked DIY because they wanted revenge. This was the dumbest thing of the Triple H era so far. Cody and Owens killed each other in what was basically big bump of the match. Was fully expecting Zayn to do something, but surprised he didn't. A great star-packed men's Rumble. Interesting win with Jey Uso, who I assume is going for Gunther, but Penta was totally eliminated in that spot they were trying to do. Maybe some people are getting too ambitious in spots where they don't need to be. If they called it for real, their plans would have been messed up.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it did kind of look like Penta hit the ground there. It sure did. So, yeah, no, but it's a good thing for his career that they were just like, yeah, we're just gonna pretend that one.
Now you see what happened.
It wasn't as obvious.
The crowd was popping so much. It was so thunderous in the arena that the ground literally went up a few inches.
That's what happened.
You can't blame Penta for that.
No,
exactly.
You can't blame. The mats were just rising from all the air, just circulating through the venue. The mats just rose up and hit his feet. That was. So he technically never hit the ground because the mats weren't on the ground at that point.
Exactly.
There you go. That's
Yorkie,
science, guys.
Yorkie with probably the best feedback I've ever gotten. Disappointed with one Rumble and pleasantly surprised with the other one. Looking forward to seeing Jay beat Gunther at Mania.
Can I say, I truly want to believe that he's disappointed with the men's and happy with the women's. That's what I want to feel.
There are definitely people. Yeah, there are. I feel like once we get to a couple of the ones down the line, there are people who do feel that way for sure. But yeah, no, I think that is the opposite.
Yeah. Justin Lacey, your boy, Matt, says, I never complain, but I actually look at this show as an absolute joke. Only good thing was Cena post-presser. No story moved at all. Punk, Roman, Cena, Fatu. No, please let me watch mid-card yeet. You had your Mania moment, and you had your brother stunk the joint out so bad. You've lost 7 to 8 title matches in a row. How can this be the outcome? How? 1 million angles. Jay Clean was not one of them.
Yeah, so I understand that. I understand that argument. Like, I do disagree with you, Lacey, that no stories were advanced. Many stories were advanced, but for the main event, for the Jey Uso portion of the feedback, I get it, man. He did get Lex Lugered in my boy Lacey's eyes here. You know, he just has lost too much, and he has lost the faith of the wrestling fan. It just feels like he is a mid-carder. That's where he's slotted in terms of wins and losses over the past few months. That's kind of true. That totally makes sense. However, in terms of presentation, in terms of his entrance, in terms of the fucking fact that he's hanging out with rappers and everyone in the back is happy for him and stuff, he is presented in a main eventer in some ways, except he just needs to accrue some fucking W's. So the Royal Rumble is a good start. I don't think he should lose again for 6 months.
Yeah. He needs to go on a hell of a run starting now.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's all right. Let us continue. Jordan James Embleton said, I thought the whole PLE was pretty lackluster. That ladder match was possibly the most boring in WWE history. It was great that Jay won, but I don't know why he would challenge Gunther again instead of Cody. Like, make it sense. Make sense.
Right. Well, he would challenge Gunther because that's just like a personal hurdle that he needs to get over, which is why they've had Jey Uso lose to Gunther over and over and over again. I get the story, but it is unsatisfying to actually see him just lose, and then all of a sudden he's going to win the Royal Rumble, and now he's going to beat him, and it's pretty obvious. I understand that, but like in storyline, I do think that tracks. I can understand the motivation of Jey Uso's character to want to conquer Gunther once and for all. I feel like that's okay. I disagree personally with the ladder match comment. I disagree very strongly with that, but I ain't mad at you for saying it. I totally understand that ladder matches, the crazy fucking stunt shows that these have become. If you're used to the AEW ladder match, if you're used to an indie ladder match, you can watch that and think it was boring. I would not have called that boring, but I totally get a fan who would. I totally understand that.
And I know that James does watch a lot of AEW, so that's like perfectly sums up your point, Matt. Like, I know that's kind of where that was. We're going to do a double take here because Blaine added another thread before I added the feedback thread, and there was some more feedback in there. But let me add to what Blaine said earlier, and this is what he said. I'm all for Jey Uso winning. He's super over and one of the best talents they have, but they need to go all the way with this. He can't be another Kofi and have his title match in the middle of the card. He has to main event one night, preferably the second. A tall order considering his current position on the card, but they have 3 months, so not impossible. That said, I would put him against Cody rather than Gunther in order for anyone to take his title victory seriously. If not, he'll always be the other champion, and beating Cody actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. Seeing as Cody defeated Roman, you could tell the story that Uso, former tag team champions with Cody, if I'm not mistaken, can actually be the one who vanquishes Cody. That is an interesting story beat there as well. I do understand that. It's going to be Gunther, though. It is going to be Gunther.
Absolutely. Gary Chan added, oh yes, I think it has to be Jay Cody, and Jay going over Cody clean will really help make Jay. Cody is super over already and doesn't need the title to stay over. I was a bit worried that the face-face matchup wouldn't work, but I think the story of their friendship and history will bring a lot of emotion that will hook us all in.
Yeah, you can see that.
Michael Birak said, go ahead, Matt, sorry.
Okay, I was just going to say, I think it's actually maybe a better story. It's less obvious than Jey Uso versus Gunther, which I feel like they have been setting up for so long. I almost want to see John Cena versus Gunther and Cody versus Jey Uso. I just don't think it's going to happen. But I think this is very interesting feedback. It would be probably a better story.
Yeah, Michael Birak said he either has to main event or open the card, that being Jey Uso. And that's the thing, right? You got to put Jey Uso in that prominent position at this point.
Yeah, again, and you have Jay here, but he did say in his post-press conference he wants another crack at Gunther. So again, they're teasing that storyline. But again, they could swerve us, and he could say, like just before Elimination Chamber for when they're setting up for the number contenders, I want Cody. He could come out and say, I want Cody. But again, we just don't know what it's going to be.
Brian,
but as you said, as you said, Andre, he's already said at the press conference that he's going after Gunther. He's already said it. It's going to be Gunther. I'm like 90% sure. And that might be the wrong decision, but it sure seems like that's going to be the case. Quickly, before you go on, Boris, if it's Jey Uso versus Gunther and Cody versus Cena, there is a chance that Jey Uso and Gunther wouldn't be the main event of night one, and they would either give it to Punk Rollins Reigns, or they would give it to Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte or Tiffany versus Charlotte. Like, the women's title could easily main event night one, and that could screw Jey Uso out of his main event slot as well.
Give him the opening match then, right? Like, the opening match sometimes is just as important as the main event. All eyes are on you, and all more sometimes, right? So, like, I don't know. As Michael said earlier, either give him the opening slot or the main event slot. Like, either of those has to be given to Jey Uso as the Royal Rumble winner at this point, who he faces, as you said, Matt, most likely Gunther. But like, again, there's so many intriguing stories that you can get out of either guy at this point. Like, again, I don't understand why people are unhappy with this. You have great stories leading into WrestleMania.
There's still intrigue. There's still intrigue on the table. I'll tell you this, though. If Uso picks Gunther, and if that opens night one and he's quote unquote jerking the curtain, while I agree, like, with exactly what you said, like, I agree with Michael, in real life, it is just as important as the main event, if not more sometimes, especially for a huge show like WrestleMania. If he opens night one, people are going to be pissed. People are going to shit on it just like they're shitting on this Royal Rumble. That will happen. The wrestling fans are going to say, oh, he's not being pushed. Oh, he's a fake champion. It's a number 2 belt, this and that. All the things they're saying already. They're going to really hammer that home if main event Jey Uso is not in the main event.
Yeah, I agree with you. Look, I think regardless of what they do with Jey Uso, there's people who are just dead set on no yeet. Like, they just don't want him in there. They don't see the intrigue in this. And it is what it is. To each their own. This is the beauty about pro wrestling. But for once, I will say this. You're all wrong. Brian Patrick says, I'm indifferent to Jey winning. There's no way we can do Jey Gunther again. Their enemy match wasn't great. Cody, Jey doesn't feel big enough for Mania.
Well, there you go. Well, I got bad news for you, pal. I got bad news for you, friend. They are doing Uso and Gunther again. But I respect the opinion. You got to respect the take.
Yeah, I do. Absolutely, I do. It's what I love about this. It's what I love. Like, look, even we're assholes and wrong sometimes, but we just have our opinions. We see what we like, and this is the beauty about the wrestling business. This is the beauty about A+ Productions, where for the most part we respect each other's positions, and we just have fun talking about wrestling. For the most part, until I call you flat out wrong,
which happened, I believe, 13 seconds ago. You can hit the back on your podcast. It won't take you very long.
But again, look how much conversation is happening, positive or negative. People are posting, people are talking about it. It's getting WWE hashtag WWE mentioned, right? Like, that's the thing. You say what you want. People are talking about the Rumble, positive or negative. This is one of those cases where it really doesn't matter because it's getting attention everywhere. And something that I've learned about the Triple H era is that they are reading, they are listening. So it'll be very interesting to see where they go with all of this as we lead into March 1st in Toronto at the Skydome. Elimination Chamber. Guys, again, this leaves so many questions open and intrigue and speculation as to who even is going into the chamber and who's going to be winning the chamber. Is John Cena a shoo-in? Is Roman Reigns going to be in it? Is Punk going to be in it? What about Rollins? What about... there's just so many possibilities on the men's side, but let's talk about the women's side first. The women's chamber, with Charlotte winning, who do you think she is going to go after at WrestleMania? Is it going to be a blonde v blonde moment? Is it Boris's literal wet dream of a blonde and blonde going at it at WrestleMania with Tiffany Stratton and
So
Charlotte
loud.
Flair? Or are we going to get a rematch of Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair? Like, what is going to happen there? Let's start with Andre.
Blonde v blonde. I really feel, again, it's been teased already, and I think it's as much as I think Rhea and Charlotte would be a great match. I think there's another direction you can go for Rhea with Sky or possibly somebody else on that roster. I think Charlotte, the better match is with Tiffy to help make Tiffy a bigger star, like to really help cement her as a star, to be working arguably the biggest star in your company. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that Tiffany Stratton's going to win. I honestly do think that Tiffany Stratton is going to win that match. Again, to cement. I think that WWE right now is really starting to think for once in a long time about their future and future stars. We're going to be getting a lot of disappointed fans or a lot of happy fans, depending on what side of the coin you're I should say. And yeah, I think that WWE is really going to start giving wins to those younger or just different stars.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with the panel. I think she will choose Tiffy time. Tiffy's been dropping Charlotte's name here and there in interviews around the business. She's been talking about how Charlotte Flair is an idol of hers. I think that's the direction. That leaves us with who Rhea Ripley is going to wrestle, because it sure seems like Bayley is paired up with Roxanne Perez. It kind of seems like she's already beaten Nia Jax, Rhea has. She's already vanquished Liv Morgan. That would be a little bit of a retread. I wonder if Becky Lynch comes back, wins the Elimination Chamber, and it's Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania.
Could be, man. It could be. But are people going to bitch, moan, and groan about that one too? Is Liv Morgan going to get her shot? Like, what's it again? There's a lot of intrigue, a lot of cool things that could happen. So is that who you're putting? If you had to put $10 on someone, is it Becky Lynch, Matt?
Yes, and I would say that's that. Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley could main event night one of WrestleMania. I would say that's a better bet to main event one of the shows than Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte would be. I think that is arguably the two biggest female stars in WWE history. Becky Lynch is certainly number one on that list. I think Rhea Ripley is getting pretty close to number two in terms of most famous, most mainstream acceptance, biggest star ever created by the women's division in WWE. Rhea's top 5, and she might be number 2 right under Becky. So that could easily main event a WrestleMania, Rhea versus Becky. And I think that's where we're going this year.
Yeah. Again, a matchup from last year, the rematch. I could see it. But again, I also see the possibility of Io Sky. Again, if it's Io Sky, it's not a main event. But it's still, I think Io Sky, to me personally, like for me, is the more intriguing matchup. But we will see. We'll see what happens. Again, you never know what's going to come out of this.
So,
and that's excited for this Elimination Chamber.
If I give you $10 right now to place a bet, your money's going to go on Io Sky.
Yeah, I have. I gotta make those bold predictions. You
want a bold prediction? No. This is gonna piss off a lot of people. I don't personally want this, but I have this weird feeling in the back of my head. This is what we're gonna be getting: Nikki Bella.
Oh my God! Nikki Bella versus Rhea. I'm gonna stick. I'm gonna stick
eras.
With. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Andre, I actually forgot, and thank you for reminding us that match happened last year. My predicted Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch actually happened last year, and it kicked off night one, in fact. That's a great call. Good memory by you, homie. I'm still going to stick by my prediction and say Becky Lynch is going to win this year at WrestleMania over Rhea Ripley. They'll do like the twice in a lifetime situation. But it might be somebody out of left field, somebody we're not expecting. And by God, Boris, it might even be your girl, Nikki.
Not my girl.
Trish. It could be Trish, the Canadian Trish Stratus.
Yeah. No, I have this weird feeling it's going to be Nikki Bella. I don't know why. I really feel like it's going to be Nikki Bella, which means that we're going to have to watch her in an Elimination Chamber match to even get there.
Oh my God, Boris, you can look, but you can't touch. I'll tell you that much right now. You know what? You know what? It could be. Here's a dark horse. You know who it could be? It could be Jordan Grace. Muscle Mommy versus Muscle Mommy. Muscle Mania. Let's fucking go, lads.
Trademark that one before it gets trademarked. We're selling those shirts.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, again, lot of possibilities, but if you were to give me $10 to put on some betting site, it would go to Nikki Bella. I don't know why. I just feel like that's a quote-unquote generational match that WWE loves to promote and stuff like that, right? You get the Divas era versus the whatever this is.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, the women's evolution 2.0, women's evolved, the women's Raichu era. That's two Pokemon jokes on the same show. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let us jump to the men's side. Jey Uso most likely going after Gunther. This leaves Cody Rhodes open for a match at the Elimination Chamber. Who is going to face Cody Rhodes? I'm going to give you guys my dark horse right away, and I'm going to say it's going to be Penta.
Oh, it's a little too early, but I like the spice. I like the take. Lacey, in his feedback, alluded to this, but John Cena cut an awesome promo in the post-game press conference of the Royal Rumble where he declared he is winning the Royal Rumble, or the Elimination Chamber, sorry. He apologized for not winning the Rumble. He said he's come to his senses, come to a realization that him winning the 17th world title, winning the Elimination Chamber is best for business. It is best for the industry. It's a really good promo. You should definitely go watch it if you haven't seen it. But I think John Cena has all but told us he is winning the Elimination Chamber. And this time I believe him. I do think it will be Cody versus Cena, main event of night 2. And I think Cena's breaking that record. I think Cena's going to be the one to beat Cody.
Honestly, that's really who I do think it's gonna be. It just I gotta throw out a dark horse. Gotta spice things up. Gotta add the tagine in this show here, right? But yeah, no, I think Cena. Andre, go ahead.
My $10. Third year in a row, baby. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. One more time, the rubber match. Let's do this. Let's go. Roman Reigns wins the Elimination Chamber.
Wow, interesting. So let's say let's roll with this. Let's roll with this, Andre. So then, who does Cena face at WrestleMania?
Logan Paul.
Fuck.
Gross. I hate it. Get out of this house, even though you are in Edmonton and not in my home. It's possible. There's a non-zero chance of that, but I sure fucking hope not. Logan Paul might be in the Elimination Chamber. I would say the Elimination Chamber. My guess it's going to be Cena, Punk, Rollins, Roman, Logan Paul, and Braun Breaker. I think that's your 6 for the Elimination Chamber.
That's pretty stacked Elimination Chamber for the men. Like that's pretty crazy actually. But yeah, Seth Rollins, who's he gonna face at WrestleMania? Are we gonna get Punk Rollins again?
I'm thinking Punk, Rollins, Roman. I think that triple threat was set up, but Andre's rolling with Roman in the main event. So I think his pick would be Punk versus Rollins too. Yeah, but I'm guessing triple threat.
Drew McIntyre.
Where does this leave Drew? Punk Rollins. Damian Priest.
Damian Priest.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Agreed.
After last night,
agreed. Looks like Drew versus Priest. Yep.
All right, there we go. Anything else you guys want to chat about before we wrap this up? Just like the Rumble, we are going long, but you know what? There's so much to talk about, which is the beauty about this at this time. We are officially in pointing season, WrestleMania season, and here in Toronto, we're a little extra spicy, a little extra excited because the Elimination Chamber and SmackDown the night before are happening at the Air Canada Centre and Skydome, respectively.
Yeah, I love it. I love your dedication to the old names of these buildings. You are 100% correct, Boris. And yeah, it's gonna be a fun time for sure. We're gonna get John Cena's last hoorah in our great city, in our great nation. Perhaps might be Cena's last Canadian match for all we know. and it's going to be a good time. But yeah, I thought this was a fine Rumble, and I am blessed as we all are to watch with a group of people. You know, I had lots of friends over. It was a great time. Lots of good lots of good eats, good drinks, good laughs. You know what I mean? So that's the way to watch wrestling. And shout out to you if you've got that. And if not, you know, it's fine to watch wrestling by yourself and log on to the Facebook group and give your thoughts. That's why we're here, by God. But wrestling's meant to be fun, and I just had a lot of fucking fun watching this show. What can I say? I liked it.
Watching wrestling with more people kind of get you thinking better too about stuff in terms of the wrestling, in terms of what's happening. I find that sometimes, as we are very hardcore dedicated fans, if you're watching alone, you can get really lost in your own thoughts when you're watching with a group, and that group consists of people who don't typically watch wrestling. Sometimes they say the most outlandish, insane bullshit that just makes sense, kind of like watching wrestling with me.
Thinking outside the box. Exactly.
Andre, any last words?
Again, just I very much think this is a good overall pay-per-view from top to bottom. Again, some things were predictable, but some things just made you feel great. And again, I'm looking forward. The road to WrestleMania looked very interesting to me on what could be coming, what's already been set out. Again, there's so much potential in what WWE can do for these next 2.5 months leading up to WrestleMania 41. And Vegas is going to be a good freaking time, baby.
Yep, 420 Easter and WrestleMania all in one day. We're going to be holy fucking high watching wrestling. Going to be a great time. A+Productions.com is the best place to find everything A+ Productions, whether it be A+ Sports, A+ Entertainment, or A+ Wrestling. A+ Productions is what you need to search on Facebook.com to find the Facebook group, and we have a really great time. Again, thank you all so much for your feedback, for your comments, for your DMs, for your whatever it is that you send us. It honestly means so much to each and every single one of us. We just do this because we have fun. So much on the go. Matt and I will be back later this week talking some crazy NBA, some NFL, some more scripted stories in the NFL and whatnot. But so much here at A+ Productions. On behalf of the entire crew and on behalf of Andre and Matt, thank you so much for listening. But most importantly, stay tranquilo.